Hello children. Children, let us come back to the lesson Prehistoric Society of class 6. In previous lesson, I have explained you about historic period, the classification of historic period. It is classified into three. One is prehistoric period, protohistoric and historic period. When we come to prehistory, it is divided into three. One is Paleolithic Age, Mesolithic Age and Neolithic Age. Today we are going to discuss about this Paleolithic Age, Mesolithic Age, Neolithic Age and Metal Age, where how the human beings' life was in these ages. Children, let us start with Paleolithic Age. Before that, I would like to inform you to check page number 60 of your textbook, where different stages of evolution among organisms and plants are given. Okay, let us come back. Paleolithic Age, it is considered between 5 lakh years to 12,000 years. Children, it is also called as archaeological stage. What do you mean by archaeology or archaeological stage? Children, when I explained you about history, sources of history, I have explained you the sources in which one of it is archaeological sources. Archaeological sources means the remains or ruins of the things used before or used in ancient times, or the constructed structures of the ancient times. Those are called the archaeological sources. So why we call Paleolithic Age as archaeological stage? Because we don't have any written evidence. We consider this age as archaeological stage because we don't have any written evidence. Only we have the archaeological evidence to construct a history. When we come to Paleolithic Age, the food, the people, how Paleolithic Age depends upon fruits, edible plants and tubers. Tubers example, the sweet potatoes which will grow under the ground. Those are called tubers. Shelters, they used to live in caves and under the rocks. They made variety of simple stone tools like scrapers, knives, clevers, and also for these tools they use the type of rock. Those are called flint and quartzite. Got it? Next, they see the clothing. When it comes to clothing, they were using large leaves and bark of tree. You know this, yes, no? You have heard this about early humans. Before early humans were using the large leaves to cover their body and also the bark of trees. Children, they were the wanderers. So for food they were wandering from one place to another. They learned to control the fire also. They know how to control the fire. When it comes to the site, means where we can find the archaeological sources of this Paleolithic Age are, one is Belan of Uttar Pradesh. Next one is Unasagi and Baichabal of Karnataka and Kurnool and Amaravati of Andhra Pradesh. Let me come back again. The Paleolithic Age is also known as archaeological stage, and the age that is considered as Paleolithic Age is 5 lakh years, between 5 lakh years and 12,000 years ago. And also their food were the people, the humans of Paleolithic Age depends on the fruits, edible plants, tubers as food, and also for shelter they were using caves and rocks, and tools they used are the scrapers, knives and clevers made of rock or stone. Clothing they use the large leaves and bark of trees. The sites where we can find the archaeological sources of Paleolithic Age are Balan of UP, Uttar Pradesh, Unasagi and Baichabal of Karnataka, and Kurnool and Amaravati of Andhra Pradesh. Children, let us move on to next age, that is Mesolithic Age. This age is between Paleolithic Age and Neolithic Age. Children, again, this age is between Paleolithic and Neolithic Age. So it is a middle between these two. It is called as Mesolectic Age. This is considered under between 12,000 years, between 12,000 years and 9,000 years ago. So Mesolectic Age is also called as Microlitric Age because people of Mesolectic Age understood the use of small stones. They started to use small stones instead of big stones, and they use the small stones to hunt for doing the tools and all. For the tools and all they prepared the tools using the small stones. So lith means rock. So they use the small rock as tools. So this age is also called as Microlithic Age, Microlytic Age. Micro means small, lithic means that is rock, small rock, using small rock. They use small rocks as the tools. To make the tools, they use more small rocks. So it is called as Microlytic Age. Children, they were on wild nuts and also they started to hunt. See, when we come back to Paleolithic Age, children, they were using fruits, edible plants, and tubers. At the ending of the Paleolithic Age, they got the shortage of fruits edible because it is a seasonal. Fruits are all seasonal, so they were not getting proper food for the. It is like they had more crisis. So only they are also started. At the last of the Paleolithic Age, they started the hunting, which continues here in the Mesolithic Age. They depends upon hunting. And also they started to collect the wild nuts. And then they started, they used, I said you, they used the small stones, that is microlith, to make the tools. That is, they made the spear. Means they used the small stones to tie for a stick, and they used that as spears. And also they done some small tools using the stones. And what the clothing, when we come to clothing, they use animal hide. Animal hide means the skin of the animal they used as their clothing. Then children, I said you those fruits and all is a seasonal thing, seasonal vegetable, seasonal things, food. It is a seasonal food. So they got shortage of food led them to go for hunting, but still hunting also was tough. They didn't get the hunting all the animals for hunting all the time. Then they started to taming the animals, the offspring of the animals which they get during hunting. Offspring is what? The younger ones of the animals is known as offsprings of the animals. So they started to rear the animals, rearing or taming the animals which they get as the wounded animals. While they are hunting, if any animals are wounded, they used to keep them as a livestock. What do you mean by livestock? Livestock means keeping the stock which is alive. Example, domesticating the animals which they can use it for future. Understood? So the Mesolithic Age people started to taming the animals. How they got the animals? That is the offsprings of the animals which they killed for hunting. Understood? No? So taming animals also. And the sites, when it comes to sites, children, it is the Bhimbetka and Adamnagar and also Brahmagiri of Karnataka are the important sites of Mesolithic Age. You understood? Again, I will repeat, Mesolithic Age is also known as Microlithic Age because the people of this age started to use more stones, small stones to make the tools like spears and small tools. They used to sharp the small stones and they used to tie to a long stick and they use that as spears, and also they use the small stones or small tools for like hunting and all. So this age is called Microlithic Age. Micro means small, lithic means rock, small rock, use of small rock. So this age is also called as Microlithic Age. They used wild nuts. They started to preserve wild nuts for their further use. When they will get shortage of food, they were using the preserved wild nuts. And also they started hunting also was there. And I said you they were living in the caves and also rocks, under the rocks. And spears, I explained you, the animal hide, they were using for clothing animal skins, that is called animal hide, and taming animals. They started to tame the animals as they kept that as a livestock for their further use. When they get shortage of food, they were using the animals which already they have tamed. How they were getting these animals? No, they started like wounded animals while they're hunting. If any animal is wounded and is alive, they were keeping it for further. So they were taming it for further or the offsprings. If they get the younger ones of the hunted animals, they were keeping that, taming that for further use. Also further they were using that to their food when it is shortage. Next, the sites are Bhimbetka and Adamnagar, Brahmagiri of Karnataka, etc. These are the sites where we can see the Mesolectic Age evidences. Children, I explained you Paleolithic Age and Mesolectic Age. Let us move on to the next age, that is Neolithic Age. I want to remind you, these three ages are classified under prehistory. Understood? Okay. Neolithic Age. When you come to Neolithic Age, it is between 9,000 years to 5,000 years ago. It is between 9,000 years and to 5,000 years ago. Children, they learned the cultivation. Why? Because I said you, fruits and these edible plants and all like seasonal. They were not getting in all seasons these fruits and all. So they started to hunting. When they started to hunting also, sometimes they were facing the shortage of food. What they started to tame the offsprings of the hunted animals or the wounded animals. Now the humans started to wander one place to another in search of food for him and also his animals, the tamed animals or the domesticated animals. So what happened when he started to roam one place to another in search of food? He got an idea to settle on the bank of rivers. He learned cultivation, which was food to him also, and also the fodder to his animals. And also he settled on the bank of river. Because why they want to settle on the bank of rivers, children? Because river banks will contain alluvial soil, which is very fertile soil, where they can do the cultivation, and also the water for their purpose will be available for their domestic use or for their animals also. So they settled on the bank of rivers. See, this led to the direction for civilization. This led to this direction of civilization. You know some details about civilization, I suppose. Egyptian civilization, Harappa civilization, Chinese civilization, etc., etc. See, this is the stage which led them to the way for the civilization, where they started to settle on the bank of river. The settlement started in the Neolithic Age. So Neolithic Age is the turn where they started to settle together on the banks of river, which led to the direction for further civilizations. In next lesson, we are going to study about the civilizations. Okay, this is like step before the civilization is the Neolithic Age. Children, after this, when it comes to shelter, they used to build some shelter using the sun-dried bricks. Yes, in these two ages, they were living in the caves or under the rocks. They were living, but here they understood to use the sun-dried bricks, which we are using at present. See, whatever we are using, those are not like we have invented that. No, not the modern people. These are the bases we got from our ancestors. What they have done, on that basis we are building our future. We are building our present and our future. So, children, sun-dried bricks are not like invented only in our ages. No, it is like in Neolithic Age only they have invented this sun-dried bricks. They were using this sun-dried bricks to build the shelter. So they also used to store grain, See, when they started to do cultivation, the excess production of grain started. Yes, no? When they started the cultivation, there was a excess in production of grains. So they want to store it for future. They plan to store it for future. So they've done some handmade potteries to store the grains. Understood? Next, they use the stone tools and hand hacks made up of bones. They use stone tools and also handmade hacks. So, hacks made up of bone. See, hand axe means like using the hacks, which is small one, which we can use in hand. So, and of bones, using the bones, they have done some axes also. And the sites of this Neolithic age are Banahalli, Budihal, Uttanur of Karnataka and Chirand of Bihar, etc. are the sites of Neolithic age. Children, Neolithic age, they learned cultivation. See the many changes from this Mesolithic age. Understood? Many changes when you just go through these three ages, many changes has took place, but it didn't happen in 1 or 2 years. It is a large process from this 12,500,000 year to 5,000 years. It is a big process where human life took many changes. Even these Neolithic age people know how to control fire. They understood the utilization of fire because see, here only in Mesolithic age only they understood how to use the fire and all, control fire and all. Here they upgraded and they started to use fire for different purpose. Understood, children? So, Neolithic age, see, it is Paleolithic age, Mesolithic age and Neolithic age. Next topic, we are going to move on to study the Metal age, which comes after the Neolithic age. Now, let us move on to Metal age, under which we are going to study Copper and Bronze age and Iron Stone age. Children, the use of metals begin by the end of Neolithic period. Yes, the use of metals, they started to use in the Neolithic period, end of the Neolithic period itself. The first metal that a human being started to use was copper. So, which was the first metal used by the people or by the human, that is the copper, and further they mixed the tin and copper and produced a new metal called as bronze. Bronze is an alloy. What do you mean by alloy? Alloy means the mixture of one or two or more metals, that those are called as alloy. Okay. So bronze is an alloy. Children, when we come to Copper and Bronze age, you understood how the bronze is produced. That is mixture of tin and copper led to the production of bronze. Now, Copper and Bronze age is also called as Copper and Bronze Stone age. Why we'll call Copper and Bronze age as Copper and Bronze Stone age? Because see, the copper and bronze was not adequate. These metals were the quantity of these metals were very less. So only people started to continue the stone also as weapons. They used even stone. They continued to use the stone. So only in this age, the copper, the bronze, and the stone also used. So this age is also considered as copper and bronze and stone age. You understood why it is also called as Copper and Bronze Stone age? Yes, as the quantity of copper and bronze was not more, it was very less, so only people started to continue the use of stone also. So it is called as Copper and Bronze Stone age. Children, thereafter, what happened? This age began almost 5,000 years ago, children. So they continued the agriculture and animal rearing. As I said you before, in Neolithic age only they were rearing the animals and also they were doing agriculture. Here also they continued. It became a important occupation. Okay, prime occupation of Copper and Bronze age people was agriculture and animal rearing. Even they designed the pots they manufactured the design pots using the wheels, and also copper implements and jewelries belongs to this age can also be founded. So they founded the design pots design pots manufactured using wheels and also copper implements, and copper jewelry is also found, which belongs to Copper and Bronze Age. Did you understood? Next, children, these people started using this bronze and stone tools or implements to do deep agriculture. So when they use these implements or the tools, it helped them to convert the forest area into cultivated land. So the copper or the bronze is really little hard than copper. Bronze is hard than copper because it is an alloy which is created by mixture of tin and copper. Okay, when it comes to bronze, when they started to use bronze implements or tools, it helped them to convert the forest into cultivated land. Then you can assume now, once this land, the forest is converted into cultivated land, the cultivation or the agriculture activities geared up. They started to do more cultivation, and finally the yield was more. When the yield was more, they started to transport the excess yield to the needy place. So that started the trade. So in copper and bronze Stone Age, the trade started. You understood how the trade started? Thus, in the valleys of Sindhu and its tributaries, a grand culture like Harappa arise. So in South India, the use of bronze was less when compared to the use of copper. The evidence of copper and bronze Stone Age have been found in Haluru, Banahalli, Brahmagiri, and some other places in Karnataka. Children, I think you understood the copper and bronze age. Let us move on to Iron Stone Age. Children, Iron Stone Age, when it comes to Iron Stone Age, see, iron is a hard metal. You all know that iron is a hard metal, and it is used, see, in South India, it is used before copper. It is used so long back, almost 3,500 years ago only they started to use the iron in South India. So this period is also called as Grandstone culture. Why this is also called as Grandstone culture? Children, in this age, in Iron Stone Age, people was to use the stones. See, in the terms of the Grandstone culture, so the stone circle was constructed around the chamber where the dead bodies are kept. Okay, red and black colored pots were commonly found inside, commonly placed inside the tomb. Okay, understood? See, they built a chamber using the stones around the dead body where they have kept the dead body, where they buried the dead body. Around that, they built a stone circles. Inside they have kept, even inside the chamber we can find red and black colored pots. So in Karnataka, common people call this as hut or house of Pandavas or Mauryas, stone of Mauryas. They will call it as hut or house of Pandavas or the stones of Mauryas. So next we move on to next point, that is Republic states emerged. How the Republic state emerged? Children, the use of iron, the use of iron increased the yield of the agriculture or handicrafts. Yes, no? So the use of iron increased in North India. So agrarian activities geared up. What do you mean by agrarian activities? Means agricultural activities geared up, and the yields was more. So about 2,600 years ago, the class which controlled surplus yield emerged as ruling class. So see, about 2,600 years ago, what happened? Well, the class emerged. The class which controlled the surplus yields, who had a control over the surplus yields, emerged as ruling class. So those ruling class are become the republic states. Thus emerged the republic state. Did you understand? Can I come back? See, the use of iron increased in the North India, which increased the agricultural activities also geared up, which increased the yield from the agriculture and also from even the production of handicraft. Handicrafts also increased. Got it? So only when these things are increased, in 2600 years ago, the class which controls your surplus yields. Surplus means the excess yields emerged as ruling class, which were called as republic states. So thus the republic states emerged. Children, the important sites of Karnataka are like Brahmagiri, Koppala. See, the iron Stone Age sites are where we found this iron Stone Age. Those sites are like Koppala, Egdenalli, T. Narsipura of Karnataka. These areas we can find the sites of iron Stone Age. See, even when republic states, example, Mauryas, okay, Nandas, they are all come under this republic states. Children, let me again revise you once. Copper and Bronze Age, Copper and Bronze, it is also called as Copper and Bronze Stone Age. They were depend upon agriculture and animal rearing was their important occupation. We found some design pots, copper implements and jewelries which belongs to the Copper and Bronze Age, and they started to see using the copper and bronze, or bronze is hard than copper, yes, because it is an alloy. So using that, they converted the forest area into cultivated area or cultivated land. Thus the yield becomes surplus. So they started to transport the surplus yields from one place to another, where the needy place. So they started to transport the surplus yields to the area where it is needed. Okay, where it is needed. So thus the trade started. In the valley of Sindhu and its tributary, a grand culture like Harappa civilization could arise. When you come to iron Stone Age, it is a hard metal. You know that iron is a hard metal, and it is used, the iron was used before copper about 3500 years ago in South India. So South India, they use the iron metal before the copper has come. So this period also is called as Grand Stone Age culture, because the people of this age were constructing a circle of stone around the tomb, okay, where they have kept the dead body. So it is called as the period of Grand Stone culture, and the people of Karnataka call it as hut or house of Pandavas or Maurya stones. And also when we come further, the use of iron increased in North India. So agricultural activities geared up, the yield was more. So what happened? In almost 2600 years ago, the class which controlled surplus yield emerged as ruling class, that is known as the republic states. So the ruling class further become the republic states. Thus the republic states emerged. I hope you understood the lesson, the prehistoric society. Thank you, children.